Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. This is season 18. This will be the second round of Tier 1. We are from the Portuguese Grand Prix from the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve, or Portimao for short. My name is JPH99 and my co-commentator, who you'd have heard from last week, Bruce. He will be slightly late tonight, but he will be joining us during qualifying. So it's a second round of the season. We've got plenty of drivers in actually at the moment, 16 so far in the lobby. Let's have a quick go through them. We've got Ginger Tiger, Destiny, Learner Driver, Martin Juroska, Reshka, Louis, Ryan, Owen, Meat Burl, Got Spooked, Volcano, Stinos, Ashtube, Martin, Maggot, and obviously Merked. I think Ginger is hosting tonight's lobby. So have a quick look through the standings. If I can find them on said Discord. So leading the way is Mercked on 18 points. He took the win and fastest lap last time out at Bahrain. MDJ is going to be second on 14 points with Learner Driver on 12. Owen has 10 with Shavshov on 8. Joshua Bashford has 7. Ryan has 6. Alex Zen has 5 with Martin on 4. Ashtube 3, Reshka 2 and Trems J 1. We are here for qualifying. Good evening, Daryl. How are yourself? Currently just single at the moment, just Gent, but Bruce is on his way shortly. It looks a bit cloudy here at Algarve. The question is, who's going to be the first to go for a lap? So we do have a car on the way out. Could be Owen. It is Owen. Owen, the first man on track for tonight's qualifying session. The Aston Martin. So a little bit about Portugal. First F1 race in 2020. Also held on in 2021 before being axed from the 22 calendar. It's 4.653 kilometers long. 15 corners, 9 to the right, 6 to the left. In terms of IRL procedure tonight, we will have 18 minutes of qualifying, as you can see in the top left. And it's going to be a 33 lap race with formation lap. We are running the formation lap this season, which is fantastic to see because it gives us commentators a little bit of a chance to prepare ourselves for the inevitable battles down towards turn 1. But we'll go on board with Owen for a lap of Portugal. Down the last corner of this massively long main straight. So down the main straight we go then. DRS wide open. Hit the brakes just before the 50 board. Down to 6th, turn it in nicely. Flat through 2, up into 3. Early braking, tight hairpin right. You want to get the line right here. You want to open up 4 as much as possible over the crest. 4th gear, sometimes 5th if you fancy trying to put a bit more throttle down. Into the first DRS zone of the lap, technically. Then you're hitting hard the brakes into 5. Using all the curb on the exit. 6 is just a flat left. 7, a slight tap of the brakes or a lift. Flat, in fact, for Owen. 8, uphill hairpin. Got to be careful because it will spin the car over the crest into a flat turn 9, then into this turn 10 and 11. Braking through 10, opening up 11. Again, very tricky on throttle because it's over the crest. 12, absolutely flat. 13, uphill braking. Can brake late here. Nice and easy as you come out. 414, you want to open this up as much as you can because this sets up your run then, because you're going to be absolutely pinned to the boards through 15. Don't take too much curb, it will actually slow your lap down. Up to the line we go for Owen. It's going to be a 1 minute 16.678 to get proceedings underway. Meatball will go fastest now with a 16.3. Got Volcano on a lap. We've also got an Alpha Tauri. I think that's going to be Got Spooked. Got Spooked up to the line. He goes quickest with a 16.1. He was quick in qualifying last week in Bahrain. Who else do we have? Stinos just starting a lap. Volcano coming to the end of his. We've also got a Ferrari. I think that's Louis. Louis just coming to the end of his first flying lap. It's going to be a 17.6. You are. Volcano does a 16.7. He'll go put himself in 5th in that McLaren. Just ahead of Learner Driver. Who else do we have coming for a lap? Merckx is on a mission. The defending champion, Conor Moresi, in the Mercedes this season, not the Aston Martin. He crosses the lines at 16.148. He takes provisional pole for now. Still 13 minutes remaining. Ryan's on a lap. Stinos, he's coming towards the end of his first flyer. Over the crest he comes. To the line, and it's going to be a 16.3, third quickest for now. Ryan. Just running out of ERS at the end, a 17.2 for the AlphaTauri, 9th place for now. The two Mercedes are looking quite strong. Meanwhile, Martin's had an issue. He's getting out of people's way at the top of turn 11. I don't know whether there's something wrong with the car, whether he's just preparing himself for another attempt. A Ginger tyre, a 17.6 on the medium tyres. So interesting strategy from Ginger, taking the mediums. Normally you get to see most people not bother to use them, because obviously you get them as an extra set in the race. It can actually give you a slight bit of strategy difference, shall we say, in terms of everyone else. Good evening, Ricky Murray. Good to see you once again. Now the question is, Martin, I think he was just setting up a lap here. He's going to go again. Let's ride on board. Let's see how this latest attempt from Martin's going to be. Oh, the back end just trying to step out through turn 1. It wasn't comfortable. Astube has rejoined, which is good to see. Through 4, and you see just that little bit tentative on the throttle. Probably taking it slightly too tight of an angle. Down into 5. Really well done on the apex through there. Really nice and tight on it. And Astube now leaves again. Something not right with Astube in terms of getting connected here. So up the hill towards 9, 10 and 11 we go with Martin. All the curve through 9. All the way to the left. Doesn't really trouble that apex, and he's gone over, and that's an invalidation. Just didn't quite get the car slowed down enough through 10, and it just left him extremely wide through 11. And unfortunately, a little too wide come the end. Owen will be on a lap next. As Astube rejoins. It's a weird circuit, Portimao. So I really enjoy driving it most of the time. It's got some really challenging sections to it. Oh, as the back end just steps on the Aston Martin for Owen. It's one of the McLarens keeping out of the way. And an invalidation there for Owen. Same corner as Martin, just trying to take as much liberty as you can with the circuit. Who's that? Who's going to be behind? You've got Learner Driver. He's on a lap, as is Destiny. The Alfa Romeo. So you're just coming to the end of the lap, is Destiny. Here comes the flat out run to the line. And he decides to abandon that lap. Learner Driver will be next. He comes up to the line. What can he put in? It's a 15.938. The first person into the minute 15s we have. Sensational lap that is. Who is going to be next to approach? I've got a feeling it could be Martin Jaroska. You've also got Ginger. He's heading to the line now. A 17.0 for the Aston Martin, puts him into 9th. Martin does go a little quicker, but he doesn't change his position. 13th it is. I think that's Volcano in the background. He just finished a lap, staying in 6th place. Meet Burrow. What can he do? Up to the line. 16.2. 4th place for the Ferrari. We do have Astube, who has invalidated his latest attempt. I think we've also got Stinos on a lap. Just coming through the last sector we go with the Mercedes. Looks like Stinos just, oh no, he's just sticking to the inside. So 16.354 for Stinos, as Joshua Bashford has joined the session. Just about enough time to get in. Reshka and Astube now have lost connection to the session. Here comes Maggot. He's heading for the pit lane. I think Louis on a lap. He's 4 tenths up right now. Puts him on a 17.2. Takes him up a couple of places, generally speaking. He's got a couple of sectors still to go. We've also got Martin. He's also on a flying lap. He's yet to set a time at present as he comes through 13 up to 14. And I do believe Bruce has joined me in the commentary box, but we'll keep an eye on Martin for the minute. As Martin comes up to the line, what can he produce? It's a 17.3, 12th place. Meanwhile, Louis puts himself in 11th with a 17.2, and that's all the laps at the moment. So, good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, JPH. Yeah, not bad, thank you. Apologies for being late. Just having a little bit of trouble getting into the lobby as well at the moment, so have to bear with me. Hopefully I can actually join you so I can actually see what's happening rather than listening to what's happening as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult to commentate on a radio station, I'll give it that. But we got a little bit of a quiet period now as we're basically just waiting for everyone to kind of like come out for their final runs. So obviously Portugal, what's your thoughts on the circuit and sort of racing we're expecting tonight?
Yeah, it's a good circuit. It's a tricky circuit with obviously the crests in it as well. It can unsettle the car. Obviously turn 4 is one of the more famed ones for causing issues. But yeah, I find as well, and what I've noticed is that even though there's only one real big straight, staying in that DRS train is very important. I think once you get out of that DRS train, you can drop behind quite a bit. So yeah, that's going to be one of the vital things I think tonight is to stay with the group of cars. But yeah, as soon as you drop off, you're in a bit of trouble, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the trend I think we've seen across at least the Tier 3 race on Monday. I haven't been able to watch the Tier 2 race yet. But just thinking that is the general trend, is if you can stick in the DRS, you've got a good chance of a pretty good result. Yeah,
definitely. And yeah, I'm sure obviously Merc after last week, he'll want to follow up his last week's result by breaking that DRS train pretty quickly and getting away from the pack. I may have to be very unprofessional and request an invite here if it's possible, because the other old one's not working. So
I'm sure we can get that sorted. Hopefully that one's come through for you. We're just getting onto the last set of laps. Joshua Bashford, the first one out, followed by Maggot. I must admit, you're not the only one struggling to join the session. Ashtube's been in and out like he's been doing the hokey cokey tonight. And I think Rushka's had a couple of issues as well. But Joshua Bashford just starting the final set of laps. We've got cars coming out of the pit lane. So they're going to have to be wary of Joshua coming up. Good response from the AlphaTauri there, staying to the inside just before turn 2.
Good news, people. I'm in. Good news, bad news. It depends whether you really want to listen to me or not. But I'm in anyway. So yeah, I can help you out a bit now, JPH. So we can cover the field rather than just the odd one here and there.
Meanwhile, Joshua Bashford just coming through sector 2 now, and the corner he's coming through now, turn 8, that's also quite famous for spins. Just that really kind of uphill hairpin right, just where they're trying to lay the grip down. Up into 11 down the hill. We'll get the second split time here to 51.9. Don't quite know how that's going to be relative to everyone else, but we'll find out. And we've got a collision with Martin and Volcano, and Martin has a 5-place grid penalty.
Yeah, that's definitely not the ideal way to end your qualifying session. Obviously, that's a bit of a disaster for Martin. Obviously, he's a fair bit down the order anyway at the moment, but as it stands, that's going to put him right to the back of the field. Learner driver, obviously now on his, I think he's the first one maybe to start his flying lap, and he is just ever so slightly up, I think it was at the first sector, but only by a very small margin.
Yeah, Maggot's just completed his final flying lap. He stays in 9th place for now. Martin has retired. I'm not surprised. I'm guessing he's probably lost his front wing due to that incident.
Learner driver just coming through sector 2 now, 100th down on his best time. So, yeah, looks like he may have pretty much found his level at the moment in qualifying. As he rounds the penultimate corner. Again, another corner, it's tricky. You can lose the back end there. We've seen it a few times, I think, over the last couple of nights. As he rounds the final flat-out right-hander. And he goes ever so slightly quicker by just under a tenth of a second.
Yeah, Destiny he is up on his time by a little bit. He does go quicker, but it stays in 7th place. I think that's Ginger Tiger's just come through for 8th place. Owen, he's not going to complete his latest attempt. Who else have we got? We got Spooked coming up to the line in the Alpha Tauri.
Stinos there up to second, although Got Spooked is now up to second. As you say, Merckx is cut a couple of tenths up on his best time. He could be very, very, very close here to Learner driver and the provisional pole position. As he drags up to the line, and not quite, ever so slightly behind, 0.05 of a second.
Yeah, it's very, very close. Who else we got? Maggot's going to come into the pits. Ashtube invalidated his qualifying anyway, so that is going to be the end of qualifying, and Learner driver is going to be on pole position with a 1:15.847.
Yeah, it's a great lap from Learner driver, and Merckx obviously incredibly close. But yeah, Got Spooked last week, was on pole position, and that's a fantastic follow-up to that with third on the grid, and incredibly close as well to the top two guys. So hopefully for Got Spooked, he can have a slightly better race than last week. It all sort of unravelled very, very quickly for him. And yeah, didn't get the result he'd have obviously wanted from that pole position. But yeah, no, it's a great effort. Very, very close between the top four, really, to be honest. Only, yeah, what's that, 1.5 tenths of a second. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Owen also has had a massive spin at the last corner, but it's hard to tell whether that was an incident or just Owen being Owen, to be honest. But yeah, it was a bit of a spectacular watch.
Yeah, I think Owen had already kind of backed out of his lap quite early through sector 2. But Learner driver does take pole. Bruce, would you like to take us through the second qualifying session results?
Absolutely, yeah. So following his podium last week, Learner driver now takes pole position for this week's race in Portugal, with Merckx second, Got Spooked third, with Stinos fourth, Meatburl fifth, with Volcano, I keep saying Volcano, in sixth, Destiny seventh, Ginger Tiger eighth, Owen ninth, with Ryan in 10th, Maggot 11th, with Louis 12th, Joshua Bashford 13th, with SFR Martin 14th, but a 5-place grid penalty is going to see him towards the back. Reska 15th, Martin Jaroska 16th, and Ashtube 17th. And I believe Merckx just left the session.
I get the feeling we're going to be having a rebooted session.
Just keep an eye on the chats to see what's going on.
Obviously, I think Darrow's picked up what we both know is the slight echo we've got at the moment. But not quite. I don't know if we ever found a full-on fix for that, other than making it really quiet.
My headphones may be a bit loud, so I'll just turn them down slightly, see if that helps. It may help, it may not help. Worst case scenario, they get to hear us twice.
Well, people get to hear me twice.
To you twice.
Yeah. So special ability is that echo, isn't it? It's fine. We're just keeping an eye on the Discord. And we are having a lobby restart. So me and Bruce will have to back out of this session. Either that or wait for everyone to leave and then we'll get booted out anyway.
Yeah, I think slowly we have lost pretty much everyone now. The session, there's barely anyone left in. And indeed, that's it. So everyone has left. So yeah, lobby reboot definitely happening. I do believe there's a suggestion in the chat that Martin's 5-place grid penalty is going to be revoked, I believe. So it looks like he'll still be starting 14th on the grid from what I can see at the moment.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I guess it depends. Yeah, obviously Merck states that 5-place penalty won't count. So, I mean, to some degree, Martin's got away with one there.
Yeah, it does seem like he was rather unlucky to get the penalty in the first place. So, yeah, as you said, I'm sure he'll be pleased that he's not going to have that stick to him for this restarted lobby.
So, as we await everyone to join the session, obviously, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with the weather, because normally, obviously, the admin would look at the weather forecast and then pick kind of like an appropriate sort of stalemate on it. For example, if it looked like it was going to be, generally speaking, partly cloudy or clear, that would generally be the weather that they go with. I don't know whether they're going to stick with the random weather or not. I mean, everyone gets a fresh allocation of tyres, so everyone kind of in the same boat, but not, because it depends what tyres people have actually did save up for the race when qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, as you say, normally they'd have seen what the weather was going to be like in the original lobby, and then they'll just try and match that as best they can. I mean, we'd all love to. I mean, do we know what the weather was, or have we not had that inside information yet?
I don't think we've had that information yet.
Yeah, so I mean, as much as we'd love it to be random and have a bit of rain coming down, obviously they'll stick to what the weather was going to be, or as I say, get as close to it as possible. Yeah, we've avoided it. I mean, obviously we did Bahrain last week. Unlikely to get rain at that circuit. I don't think it's ever rained at Bahrain on any races, has it? But yeah, unusual to avoid another rain race this week so far as well. It normally always makes an appearance at least once in the first couple of weeks.
I mean, I still think I think the most mental race was the Tier 4 Saudi Arabia race last season. And I think it was last season when it rained.
Yes, that was a bit of a surprise. Pretty slippy right now in the wet, to be honest. But yeah, it was a strange one as well because it rained very, very lightly for the entire race, pretty much. But never really, yeah, it never dried out, never got properly wet. So it was just pretty much inches all the way, and yeah, a very, very strange situation to have it on Jeddah. But I don't think we'll be seeing that in real life this weekend.
No, you never know. I mean, the weather gods may not be. They may just throw up a little bit of an interesting one, or Bernie Eccleston will come along with his proposed sprinklers and just give the track a bit of a wash. You never know.
I'm not sure I want to know about Bernie Eccleston's sprinklers, but yeah, spice it up a little bit. But yeah, anyway, that's real life stuff. This is more important. This is the most important stuff, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is real racing. None of that real F1 nonsense.
Yeah, this is the IRL racing right here. But I mean, the question is,
pun, that.
Yeah, I was hoping someone would pick up on it. The question is, who's going to win this race though? Because you've got the likes of Lerner Driver, Merckx, Spooked, and Stinos. They're all up there in the top four, 0.17 of a second, covering them in qualifying. It looks like it's going to be a clear race, judging by the weather. So setups will be the same, and everyone's going to have an equal chance here.
Yeah, again, I think Lerner Driver had an excellent race last week with his podium. He's clearly got the pace up there to challenge Merckx. And obviously it's a shame that MDJ was unable to race tonight because he was up there as well. Got spooked in Stinos. I think Stinos didn't have a particularly good qualifying last week, if I remember correctly. It was a long time ago. It was at least 6 or 7 days ago. I'm pretty sure he didn't have a great quali, but his race also didn't go particularly well either. So it's good to see him back up there. And yeah, as I say, Got Spooked race unravelled a bit last week. So hopefully they can both Got Spooked and Stinos can have strong races tonight and bulk out that sort of top sort of 4 or 5 and give us an unpredictable race. But yeah, I mean, Merckx obviously had a great season last season with Emir as his teammate as well, picking up the team championship. And he'll be looking to take over the championship mantle from Emir, but obviously this is only round 2. It's a long, long way to go. But the early pace sort of would suggest that Merckx, Lerner Driver, and MDJ are probably going to be the main 3 protagonists, assuming they can do the majority of the races.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess the key thing here for Merckx is obviously last season he did have Emir as a teammate. And they work together really, really well. Obviously, they go mates off the track. So it worked superbly. Obviously, this season he's got Stinos, who, not saying that he won't work with Merckx, but there's probably a higher chance that there isn't going to be that same sort of teamwork, as we know. If you're paired with someone that you don't kind of know off the track or the same habits as each other, it can be harder to work as that sort of team unit.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, Merckx and Emir last year, they would spend the majority of the first half of the race just, as you say, working together to pull the gap to everyone else. And then they just race each other then in the second half of the race once they were clear and safe of the pack. So that was sort of one buffer that Merckx had last year. That, as you say, obviously I'm sure Stinos will work nicely with Merckx during the season, but whether or not it'll be at the same sort of level that Merckx and Emir had is yet to be seen. But yeah, I think it will leave Merckx maybe slightly more susceptible to attacks from other guys this season as well. but I say Stenos is up there as well, so he'll want to win races. He'll want to get those podiums as well. So I think maybe early doors in the season, who knows? It could be gloves off for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, me and you know all too well that obviously in terms of inter-team stuff, in reality there's no such thing as sort of team orders or full-on team play until the end of the season, when you know who is really going for that title, or if you're both going for it, then the gloves stay off all season. But you know that is a really vital point in terms of trying to get that constructors championships, to make sure you work together, but also to try is a real balancing act to go for that constructors, but also to try and balance that with trying to get one of yourselves as on the drivers as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this season, I don't know if I didn't point it out last week, but it's a shortened season this season compared to previous seasons gone by. We've always had 15 races in the past. We're down to 12 for this season, I believe, and it means that there's less room for sort of dilly-dallying almost. You need to really make every point count from early doors. So it does add an extra dynamic to it, with the fact that you do need to score big if you want to be up there towards the end of the season. But what it also does, it means that because it's obviously a shorter season, come the end of the season, we could have a few more people still in with a mathematical chance of still winning the championship at the end.
Yeah, I mean, and the other change this season is it's not the top 10 scoring, it's the top 12. There's slightly revamped point system, not by a lot. It's it was 15 points for a win last season. It's now 17. Those gaps at the top are still the same sort of gaps. Are still 3 points from first to second. It's like 17, 14, 12. Obviously going down in that sense, but hopefully that means that those in the mid pack can obviously still have their fights, especially in position in the drivers' championship, because with 20 drivers, there's every chance that you could be one of those people that are like scrapping for that like 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th positions. Now you've got a chance for getting points for getting into that top 12 now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does mean that if you have a bad start to the race, you've got a better chance of getting points. We haven't quite gone down to points all the way down to 20th in a participation award just yet, but no, it is good that more people can score those points and contribute also to teams championship as well, because you do find sometimes that someone might be up around sort of second or third in the in a race, but their teammates sort of down in 14th and not really feeling like they're contributing. So now, bringing it down to 12th, there's more chance for that to be the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And whilst it is obviously a competitive league, obviously everyone wants to score those points. Obviously, making sure that it's still got that sort of fun element in regards to enjoying the sim racing is also quite a key factor in the leagues, because obviously, let's face it, whilst it is a very competitive league, it is a video game, and you do play for competitiveness and enjoyment. And obviously, if you're not enjoying things, it's harder to get those performances.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right there. Part of the fun, and you tend to find that if you're enjoying it more, you're also doing better as well, because you're putting less pressure on yourself to get certain results. And it's as you say, the main part is to have fun, and if you're not having fun, then it's possibly not the best thing. But here we go. Countdown now to the race. Obviously, we don't know exactly how long this countdown is now going to be. I would suggest maybe a couple of minutes, and then we're into the formation up, which is back for this season.
Yeah, which I think is for us as commentators is a massively good feature to have back, because it means we can actually get ourselves set and ready for the race start, rather than just suddenly going, oh, we're here chatting, and then suddenly 5 red lights and we're away. Gives us a chance to actually kind of prepare for that chaotic start.
Absolutely, it means we can slowly peter out on nonsense as we get towards the start of the race, rather than stopping it abruptly. But yeah, it's a nice feature as well, and it's also interesting to see how people position the cars on the grid. I myself, I don't know about you, JPH, but I'm quite a pacifist with it really, and I just line up dead straight because it's all I know what to do really. To be honest, so I get
Pull up in the
confused with
trampolines.
angles. Anything more than 10 degrees, I've got no chance. So
I mean, I must admit, I didn't angle the car on Monday, just purely because there really wasn't much advantage to it. Being, cause it's really on that right hand side of the grid, it's kind of hard to angle the car because you could come across to the left, but then you open the door to the inside like turn one. But you could go to the right and then cause yourself a ultra tight line to turn one. There's no real big advantage. I think it's mostly if you're on the outside part of the grid, just getting across to cover those behind is when you're going to see most of those angles, I think.
absolutely, and yeah, that first corner is an awkward corner as well. You know, you can put yourself in a really bad position from the right hand side of the grid if you get the wrong line into it and the wrong sort of pace. But yeah, here we go on the formation lap, and it looks like there's a wild MDJ has appeared.
Yep, the Williams boys have obviously had a major technical fault in qualifying. We're going to say virtually yesterday on Saturday. They managed to fix MDJ's car, and he's on the grid for the Sunday's race. That's the story I'm going with. I don't know if anyone wants to believe me or not, but yeah, it's good to have 18 drivers on the grid. It's a fantastic sight to see.
Absolutely, and I believe this week we've got Meatball and Destiny, who are reserves, who are in, and Maggot as well. I'm going to call him Maggot because it's going to take me a long time to say 361,975. So I think Maggot's probably easier. But yeah, good to see those guys obviously on the reserves list, but getting a drive this week because a few spaces have become available. But yeah, 18 cars on the grid. It's fantastic, and hopefully it continues for the entire season.
So interesting. Learner driver, I wouldn't say really controlling the pace of the formation out because you have got quite a few cars that are a little bit dragging behind, as you can see on the map. Learner driver I think he just really wants to get on with this and get this race started. We're going to line up on the grid. Let's quick look at tyres. Very equal mix. We've got soft runners of Stinos, Meatborough, Volcano, Destiny, Owen and Martin Juroska. The hard runner of MDJ. The rest of the grid are on medium tyres.
Yeah, interesting decision as well for MDJ. We saw people try hard medium tactics over the last couple of days. They haven't really worked, and the medium and soft combination seems to have been the best to go for. Ryan getting disqualified from the session, but he'll be straight back in for the start. But over to you, JPH, for the race start.
So we're getting prepared for the second time this season. We have the 5 red lights, and we are racing in Portugal. Question is, who's got the best getaway? It's hard to tell from this front-on angle, but it looks like Merck's got the leap. Merck's into the lead, going into turn 1. Further behind, we've got a little bit more side-by-side action, but it looks like, I'd say we're going to get away clean, but it looks like Martin Juroska and Louis down at the back here, side-by-side through turn 3 as the pack goes up through 4. Are we going to see any spinners here? Looks like we're getting through there okay as well. It's a good start from everyone. And it looks like Stinos looking down the inside of Meatborough. This is kind of like half attacking and trying to defend that 4th place that he had. But Meatborough will take the place away. And it looks like everyone now settling into that train as we head through 7 and 8. 7 definitely not a side-by-side corner.
No, a relatively clean start there. It was a little bit of sort of...
Meatborough down the inside of Got Spooks at 10 and 11. That was a surprise move from the Ferrari. Still going side by side. I think he's going to go around the outside of 13. Soft tyres compared to mediums. And Meatball, he's going to go up into the podium places on this first lap.
That's a great effort from the Ferrari driver. Yeah, there was a little bit of coming together with Louis and I think it may be Martin Jaroska at the first corner. It was just one of those bunching issues you get on the first lap. But already look at MDJ already up to 13th already after one lap. So yeah, 5 places gained, and he'll be looking to make use of those hard tyres now.
Yeah, Stinos is going down the inside. I got spooked. Used probably a bit of ERS, bit of slipstream, and he's through. Destiny now looking. Remember, got spooked is on this piece. Oh, that was a... I don't know if there was a bit of contact there between Owen and Destiny, but Destiny definitely got a little bit of a wiggle on, and Volcano's going to be the big winner out of that one. As he's down the inside, Destiny, and he's up to 6th place, is he? Yes, he is.
Yeah, great stuff there. It looked like Owen maybe just had a little wiggle. I'm not entirely sure on his own. It was quite hard to tell, but yeah, opened the door for the other guys around him. Just looking back down through the field now, it's starting to get a little bit spread out in places already. There's a bit of a gap now between MDJ and Ashtube already. So yeah, not quite so good for Ashtube that gap. It's going to be difficult now with no DRS after this lap from that position.
Yeah, definitely going to be awkward. The two Martins having a little bit of a battle together. So far, SFR Martin winning that one. Meatball fast lap of the race, not really a surprise on those soft tyres. And Ashtube into the pits he goes.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see now how well Meatball can go against the top two. Obviously, being on the armrest because unfortunately left the session. He was ghosted at the start of the race, weirdly enough, but I think it was just a weird thing to do with the bunching of all the cars at the start. Then he was there, and then obviously he's now disappeared. And that's a very slow Martin Jaroska.
I'm going to say
a yellow flag.
I reckon he had a moment out of 4. Maybe a slight twitch or something of that nature. Because the yellow flag was down at 1, and that was where Ashtube was coming out of the pits, but looks of it's a bit of a weird one.
But yeah, Meatball on the tail end of Learner Driver, and as I said, on those soft tyres, he's going to need to make them count really quickly, because obviously towards the end of the race, Learner Driver and Merc, assuming they go to the soft tyres, are going to have a higher pace advantage towards the end. But I'm pretty sure if you said to Meatball you're going to be 3rd at this point in the race, he'd have taken that no problem.
Owen is right under the rear wing of Destiny coming down towards turn 1. Almost a slight tap to the rear of the Alfa Romeo, just about gets out of it in time. Ginger Tiger was trying to overtake Joshua Bashford, but he ran a little bit wide and concedes that position back. Ryan and Maggot now side by side through for good racing ring given, and Ryan takes 11th place for now.
Yeah, a bit too much of a send there from Ginger Tiger. Easy mistake to make, really. You know, it can be quite hard to slow down. Ashtube back in the pits again. So is this him retiring? Perhaps it's a bit strange. It's twice now in 2 laps to be in the pits.
Either that or he spun coming out of the pit lane as Louis, the first person to pick up a track limit violation penalty. 3 seconds for him now. Yeah, I wonder if Ashtube actually spun it down at turn 1, and I kind of get from experience around here that when you spin the car, the tyres become, quite frankly, awful.
Yeah, quite possible. It'd be interesting maybe to find out post-race exactly what's happened there. But yeah, Owen now really on the tail end of the DRS train now, in 8th place. Everyone in front of him has DRS except obviously Mercked. VR and Meatball catching up down the inside, Learner Driver, and makes it stick, doesn't run out of road like Ginger Tiger, and up to 2nd for the Ferrari.
And Destiny up to 6th as he passes Volcano with the DRS assistance, and Martin Jaroska is retiring from this race.
Spin Stinos.
And it is that infamous turn 4 that Stinos has spun on, probably keeping it in 4th, lighting the rears up, and round she went. Lucky not to have any damage to the front of that car.
Yeah, it does appear as though he's avoided the damage situation there. I think we saw yesterday in Tier 2 someone rip a wheel off on that corner doing the same thing. So yeah, lucky to avoid that issue. Yellow flag only is currently for Martin Rosker's Alpine, going slowly after his retirement.
Bruce, I don't know whether you might have the ability to try and invite Reshka for us.
Good question.
If you don't, I can try, but we'll try letting you do it first, so keep the race being streamed for a little longer.
Well, apparently Reshka's my friend, so I wanted to send him one. So yeah, hopefully he can get back into the race. Obviously down to 16th, but still a long way to go. And learn a driver back past Meatball.
Yeah, DRS assistance, Ginger Tiger. He's passed Joshua Bashford, and this time he makes that move stick. I mean, this is the problem now for Meatbros. These soft tyres, they will go off, and they will go off quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's making it pay. He will get the benefit of the undercut, undeniably he will get that benefit, and obviously have the slightly better pace advantage on the newer mediums to the worn mediums until Merc and Learner Driver come in for their soft tyres, in which case then he'll be up against it quite a bit. So I mean, Merc at the moment here 1.6, 1.7 roughly ahead of Learner Driver. That's just that little battle there between Meatball and Learner Driver has given the new Mercedes driver a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah, we've also got this massive midfield battle at the moment. Ginger Tiger, Ryan, Joshua Bashford, Maga and MDJ. MDJ doing very well on those hard tyres. All four or five of these drivers within striking distance with the DRS. And Ryan did get a pass, as Owen's going past Destiny. We'll have a quick look at that into turn one. Oh, and Destiny has now lost connection. So not a good day for internets. Maggot's gone round at turn 1-2.
Yeah, just getting going again now in the Haas. Yeah, big shame that for Destiny. Unfortunately, I won't be able to invite him back in, I don't believe. Yeah, big shame. He's having a good little battle then as well. Owen with a slight slide there at the right-hander. Still within that 1 second of Volcano at the moment. But yeah, it's sort of peeled off now. There's Got Spooked has now joined that battle for second place as well. Yeah, there's just little pockets of battles which we have seen again over the last couple of nights. You get these little sort of pockets of 3 or 4 cars fighting each other, and then decent sized gaps then back to the next group. So I think it's just very much a feature of this Portimao circuit.
Yeah, it sounds like Destiny's game has crashed rather than an internet failure. The Wi-Fi on board of his car seems fine, but the actual system itself has decided to shut down and probably update itself as Windows would normally do. Ryan, creeping up to the back of Ginger here. He's now half a second. He's got MDJ on his tail with Joshua Bashford just behind that. Maga now has a 3-second time penalty. I am keeping my eye on the gap at the front, but at the moment it seems pretty stable. And you've got these 4 drivers very much in striking distance of making either like a late lunge or setting up a move somewhere near the future.
Yeah, I think Ryan may have made a move there down the pit straight to get past Ginger Tiger, but I think Ginger Tiger was actually saved a little bit with DRS from Destiny's car, so yeah, he might not be quite so lucky this time, and I think Ryan will be shaping up to make this move down the pit straight.
Keep an eye on this battle. Martin up to 12th. Good evening to everyone who has joined watching. This is round 2 of the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 from Portugal, in partnership with Venturi Studios as well. Owen, yeah, down the inside, DRS initiated. Here comes Ryan to the inside. That's going to be an easy move for the AlphaTauri. But it's one thing to make the move on the straight, it's another thing to slow the car down for turn 1, which he does do successfully.
Yeah, Owen did, I'm unsure whether he got a warning for that. He did make the move down the inside, but then ran all 4 wheels off the circuit, but stayed ahead of the McLaren driver, so unsure exactly whether or not he'd have got a warning for that or not. But yeah, sometimes you can get away with it. A rescue gets a 3-second time penalty.
Owen's gone round. Owen's spun it at turn 8. Unfortunately caught live in HD for Owen, so he can relive that one as a memory. But yeah, it's one of those typical corners, turn 8. You just put the power on a little bit too much, a little bit too early. And the back end has a mind of its own as Joshua Bashford going side by side with Ginger Tiger now. He's on the outside, he's going to look for a switch. He'll probably try and make this as a double switch back here. Oh, it's contact, and they're both off.
That did look like Ginger.
That's harsh.
That's incredibly harsh. Yeah, bad news that for Ginger Tiger. It looked like Ginger Tiger just lost the back end on his own a little bit. And then, yeah, kind of just, unfortunately, the other driver was just there, and then that's why contact was made. I don't really think the other driver did really much wrong in that situation, but yeah, an incredibly harsh disqualification there for the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, disqualified for driving the wrong way. Unfortunately, I don't think he really had much of an opportunity to stop himself from doing that, and obviously trying to get back to the track as quickly as you can, obviously as safe as you can as well. It's definitely a feature of the game that nobody likes. I think that that particular disqualification reason.
Yeah, definitely. Owen there, coming down to the hairpin at turn 5, he very nearly hit the back of MDJ. He had to take some evasive action and run deep into the corner and slightly off to the right hand side. But yeah, good driving from Owen to actually avoid the contact in the end. It was very, very close though.
So a little recap then. Merck leading by 1.6, 1.7 seconds. That gap hasn't really grown or shrunk. That's stayed pretty still at the moment, although Lerner driver, I think using a little bit of ERS in that because he's just closed about 4/10 on the Mercedes driver.
He had the, I believe, yeah, Ashtube is currently disconnected from the session. I think actually Lerner driver had DRS from Ashtube, hence why he closed down a little bit at a time there.
Okay, that's very handy then for Lerner driver, because if he can get within that 1 second of Merckx, that fight for the lead could be very much on.
Definitely not quite so handy for Meatball, who I think wasn't actually that far behind Lerner driver going onto the pit straight. May have actually had a chance to overtake him at turn 1, but yeah, we've seen it now a couple of times tonight that people have had that advantage from the ghosted AI cars, which is unfortunate, but yeah, also unavoidable.
Meanwhile, Owen is almost up the back of MDJ's gearbox as we head through the end of this lap. Lap 11 already of 33. And you get the feeling Owen's going to look for a move here, but MDJ's going to have DRS as well. It's going to make it very difficult. Meanwhile, Meatball not close enough.
MDJ is going to get the move done here on Ryan as he pulls on the side of the pit straight.
Stinos behind looking for the move on Owen as well. Side by side into turn 1, and Stinos gets it, and Owen just goes a little bit wide, which could be bad news for him if he needs to stick within that 1 second for this next DRS zone. He does, but that is a very big risk if you run wide through turn 1, is losing that second gap for the next DRS zone.
Yeah, it's very generous of Owen to give that much space on the inside, but obviously survival is currently top of his list at the moment, and yeah, maybe in the long run a good idea to keep away from any trouble. But yeah, ran very, very, very wide considering Stinos stayed very much on track.
Question is, when does Meatball come in the pits here? He's done 11 laps now. This is the 12th lap he's done on that set of soft tyres.
you'd have to think he's going to... I'd expect people maybe around lap 14 maybe on the soft tyres if they go into the mediums. A lot depends on what tyres they go into, obviously, after. But if he's going to the medium tyres, I think 14-19 split is realistic. As it stands, I think he would, I think Ryan goes back past MDJ. Big twitch from Ryan.
MDJ back round the outside of the Alpha Tauri. And that's brought Sinos right back into play here. In the next DRS zone, now it's not a long DRS zone, it can create opportunities down here, but obviously not in this instance. Obviously the Ashtube bot there kind of staying there, although Martin and Joshua Bashford having a bit of a fight. The Red Bull staying on top in that particular battle for now.
But yeah, I think the main thing here at the moment is obviously Meatball's going to come in. He's going to get the undercut. I think his undercut would get him ahead of both the guys that are currently ahead of him. The question is when does Learner Driver come in? Because he's going to want to come in a lap before Mercked. Because I think even a 1.8 second gap, I think the undercut's is powerful enough to overcome that deficit. So, yeah, I think the last thing Learner Driver was going to want to do is see Mercked come in the pits before him. So it will be interesting to see exactly when those guys come in, as Volcano is in the pits, the first proper pit stop at lap 13.
And Owen joins him in that pit.
Volcano to mediums.
I'd say Owen probably going the same direction.
Yeah, it looks like a set of mediums going on the Aston Martin as well. So they're obviously fancying they can do 20 laps on these mediums, which, doing 13 laps on softs, you'd have to think 20 on mediums is definitely realistic. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out now with those guys doing the pits.
So as we continue on in this race, 14th lap of 33. It makes you wonder. I reckon the undercut delta is around about 2 seconds. And it makes you wonder if Meatball was kind of hoping that Learner Driver might get a bit closer to Merck, because then Meatball would have that opportunity. If we're thinking the window of pitting, as here comes Meatball into the pits, that sort of window of opportunity isn't exactly large. Or at least it's smaller than we probably thought at the start of this week.
Yeah, definitely. Steve coming in the pits as well. Late braking coming into pits for these boys as well. But Meatball coming out on the medium. So I'd expect Meatball to make the undercut work now from this position. Of course, we've got the pits. It's interesting. Obviously, Destiny's run around in AI, as is Ashtube. So yeah, they're not going to be pitting anytime soon. Sector 1, yellow flag. Martin's out. He has gone off at turn 4.
Turn 4.
And Maggot's off as well. Maggot has spun on the same corner and he's in the gravel.
And Meatball's got a 5-second penalty for collision.
I'm not sure what happened there because I saw Meatball was off in the gravel. Saw him spin, but I didn't see what started that off. So
you have a safety car.
That's excellent news for the likes of Merckx, Learner Driver, Spooked, MDJ as well. He's going to be happy with that one.
Question is this too early for the soft tyre?
Potentially, but MDJ, starting on the hards, he could go to the mediums now to the end of this race. So it's great stuff for MDJ. That's worked out incredibly well for him. Merckx has gone to the soft tyre. So he's going to try and do this amount of laps on the softs. Learner as well. Got Spooked going to hard tyres.
So
I fully expect MDJ. Yeah, I fully expect MDJ go mediums.
Daryl, well, see, I believe JP911 said Daryl's name. Daryl was wondering if there was a wall mentioned, and Daryl, there is definitely a wall mentioned now. Someone has visited your amusement park of Whiffins Walls. The customer is SFR Martin.
So yeah, MDJ, after pit stops now, he has made his way up to 6th place, which is fantastic for him, starting 18th on the grid. Obviously, he lucked in a little bit with that safety car, but you know, sometimes these things work for you, sometimes they work against you, and he was in the right place at the right time. Up to 6th now on those mediums, and yeah, will be interesting to see. As you say, Merc to learn the driver, it's a long way to go on those soft tyres. I think the tyres will do it, it's just how competitive they are at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. This has brought out a variety of strategy here. Because you got Spooked on the hard, you got Meatball on the mediums now, so MDJ's gone mediums, you got the top 2 on softs. Joshua Bashford has taken the leap to softs. This is kind of what we want to see, these sort of awkward moments where people have to make what is essentially a very difficult call, and we just get these mass amount of strategies, which makes the race that much more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It throws it up in the air a little bit. Obviously, hard to know exactly how the racing is going to play out from this point onwards, whether we get some random gaps now, because everyone's on different strategies, and whether it then sort of concertinas up towards the end of the race. But yeah, it just mixes it up a little, doesn't it? We don't really know now exactly how this is going to work. You'd have to think probably it got Spooked in either world wouldn't have really wanted to have been on the hards, but obviously didn't feel that he could get to the end on the softs at a decent enough pace, so he's kind of been left with no choice on that one from his personal point of view. So it's going to be tough for him to keep Meatball and Volcano and MDJ behind him at the start, but I think for him he's just got to get through the opening sort of 5-10 laps and just see what happens after that.
Yeah, and to some degree, this is kind of a shame, really, that we did have this session restart due to a couple of issues, because the tyres that people are on would have been very dependent on what they saved from qualifying. Obviously, because it's the race, they've got pretty much every tyre available to them to be used. But obviously, that's the unfortunate side of online sim racing.
Yes, it is. As you say, it is just unfortunate, but it's kind of the same for everyone, really. I guess when you get to a race, obviously, if you save tyres in qualifying, it's a little bit annoying, but everyone's in the same boat once you get to the race, I guess. Owen's doing his best to try and take his front wing off on the back end of people's cars at the moment, but he's managing to avoid it. He's getting very, very close at times, though.
Yeah, I think Owen's very eager to get racing, obviously, on the mediums. He's definitely one of the people that kind of semi-lost out, as the safety car is going to be coming in this lap as a very late call. Merc hasn't got a lot of time to prepare for this.
I think Reska literally just caught the back of the field. I was surprised as well. I thought he wasn't going to catch one quick enough. But there we go, the game decides that was quick enough. And yeah, awkward for Merc, really. He probably wouldn't have wanted to be trying to do a restart around this point of the track.
And he goes now. Got half a second off the initial launch, but here comes the slipstream. Down to turn 1 we come, and Merck's going to stay in the lead. Further back we do have side-by-side action. That's Stinos and Owen. Very close quarters, but they're getting through cleanly for now. Through 3 up to 4. Are we going to get through 4 clean? Yes, we are. Stinos up into 8th. I think there's a little bit of a lag jump there, but Meatball down the inside of Gotspook. This is for 3rd place. Gotspook goes wide, and the Ferrari. That's an important move for Meatball to make sure that he sticks with the likes of Merck and Lerner driver. He has to stay within DRS here.
Yeah, absolutely. Joshua Bashwood also down the inside of Owen at the hairpin. A little bit of a wheel to side pod action, but nothing serious from it. Just a bit of hard racing, to be honest. Yeah, Mag also picked up a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag there at the start as well, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. But yeah, Joshua Bashwood's gone wide now. Owen now looking to get back past.
Still very close racing. It's all fair racing though. Meanwhile, we've got Volcano and MDJ. MDJ looking to make a move. He's round the outside of turn 15. This is not a place you normally overtake. But throw that book out the window. MDJ's going through, and here comes Stinos. He'll pick up a bit of slipstream as well to help him on his way past Ryan. So no DRS enabled yet.
It's all very frantic at the moment, isn't it, in this mid-pack? Oh, Joshua just into the back of Ryan, getting a little bit of a slide, but survives. Not ideal. Is one of these ones where you can almost feel the car going away, but Stinos down the inside of Volcano as well. Volcano's going to get the drive out of the hairpin, but definitely under pressure here from the Mercedes.
The inside, a little bit of contact, but it's all fair game. Oh, a little bit of a twitch there for Stinos. He just about catches it.
Owen's out.
What's happened to Owen?
I think it says he's left the session. I think the game has just auto DNF'd him there.
Okay.
Because the car is just parked in the middle of the track, so it's not like he's gone off and hit anything. It's a bit of a strange one, that. So yeah, it does seem like we have a bit of a disconnection issue. But at the moment, we've only got 12 cars going under their own steam.
Yeah, it's certainly a race of Wi-Fi detriment by the seams of it.
Meatball also picked up a 3-second penalty there as well for track limits, so not going to help his calls in the long run, but yeah, he's probably just going to want to, at this point, he's dropping off the back of learner driver a little bit, going to want to just gap spooked really as much as he possibly can to try and keep that third place, but I think at the moment he has 8 seconds worth of penalties, I think.
Yeah.
Just check. So yeah, 8 seconds for Meatball, 3 for Raska, 6 for Louis, and 8 for Maggot as well. At the moment, obviously, not entirely sure about a couple of these 5-second penalties, whether they're actually legitimate ones, so they may get taken to the stewards, but that is all guesswork, so we just assume they will have those penalties standing.
Stinos all over the back of Volcano at the moment.
MDJ about to go past, got spooked as well now for 4th place. Easy move down the pit straight with the DRS there, so yeah, no questions about that one. That was looking pretty comfortable for the Williams driver, and he's going to now try and hunt down Meatball. It looks like Joshua and Ryan are having a little bit of a battle as well.
Yeah, we're getting these little pocket battles coming up, aren't we? Again, quite early this time, obviously, because of the various tyres on the cars.
Raska currently up to 10th, so I think he'd be delighted with 10th at the moment, Raska, as this currently stands. And yeah, obviously top job get points now anyway, but his car is rather glitching for me. Ginger Tiger's left session, he was out the race anyway, so let's just spectating for a little bit there. But yeah, I think Raska will be quite happy with 10th at the moment. Just wait for other people to maybe have a few issues.
Good evening, Kaza. Welcome to the Tier 1 stream. Learner driver sticking around here with Merckx. And it makes you wonder if Learner's kind of going on the basis that if you can stick with Merckx, stick within DRS, they'll drop Meatball so far that they can have their battle later in this race and without the compromise of having another car join it.
Yeah, and Learner driver there, he 100% had the run. He could have got past Merck there at turn 1, but he actually backed out of it just before they got to the braking zone. So yeah, I think you're right. I think he is planning now on just working with Merck to get that gap. And as you say, they can just battle a little bit later on. Meatball obviously now with MDJ and got spooked right behind him. Got spooked doing well on those hard tyres to keep it still stuck up the front, and he's got a good gap back now currently to Stinos. So yeah, I think MDJ's probably going to get past Meatball pretty quick though. He's looking very, very racy in the Williams.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Meatball is he's got 8 seconds with the penalties. However, he can challenge. You can challenge penalties that you feel were very unfairly given. So he may well contest that 5 seconds that he got for the collision. Obviously, it's a bit harder to do the time penalties because 9 times out of 10 the game is correct, but apart from some certain circuits that we know are incredibly harsh.
Here comes MDJ. And that is an easy move there for the Williams. Up into third, up into the podium places. From 18th on the grid, I think it's going to be hard to bet against him for driver of the day if he can stay in this position.
Yeah, he'll have his engineers to thank for getting that car ready for the race. I think he'll be definitely thanking them on his way back to the garage if he can stick in this top 3 position.
But the question now for learner driver as well is what pace does MDJ have? Can he start to close the gap to the 2 soft runners in front? And if he does, will that force learner driver into making the move on Merc? The gap is coming down. MDJ has just pulled 0.2 of a second on learner driver in a couple of corners. So I think those mediums are working pretty well right now. And you'd have to think towards the end of the race, 17 lap or 18 lap old soft tyres are not going to be the nicest.
Yeah, they definitely won't be the nicest. But the other thing as well is how much that DRS going to contribute, because the MDJ won't have it. So if he's gaining what he loses in DRS, then it's going to be a pretty even Steven matchup.
Yeah, I think the main thing for him at the moment is whether he can, as learner driver, creeps up on the back of Merc again but can't get the move done. Yeah, as I say, he's pulled the 0.2, but the gap between MDJ and Merc will keep closing. Even if the gap between learner driver and MDJ is expanding, if that kind of makes sense. So, yeah, at the moment we're looking at a slight wobble for MDJ there, actually, but you're looking at about a 3.3 gap between MDJ and Merc at the moment, which isn't a huge amount. Meatball is also sticking in there as well at the moment.
Yeah, it's always an awkward situation, especially this for MDJ, because like normally you'd say, "Oh, don't bother fighting someone who's got a penalty. You can finish behind and still finish ahead of him in the race." However, if they contest that time penalty and they get that penalty rescinded, then you kind of give up that place. It's a really difficult position to be in nowadays, because of that potential of a penalty being rescinded.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys, if they feel very sort of harshly done by the game, they can challenge those penalties. So yeah, I just say one thing is to think, yeah, okay, I don't really want to fight, but yeah, like you say, if they actually get that penalty removed, then obviously you'll be regretting not fighting. So yeah, it's a difficult one. The gap between MDJ and Merc is currently settled at about 3.3 seconds. So yeah, not much change on that lap, but it's going to get to a point where those mediums are going to be significantly better than those soft tyres, and that's when we'll start to see the gap come down, I think.
Maggot now gets into the top 10. Reshka down to 11th. His car was doing a little bit of a hop, skip and jump there. You can see that gap for MDJ to learn drive, it's just not coming down. I think as Meatball definitely getting a warning for that one, as Bruce is wondering what's going on there.
Yeah, Reska immediately attacking back on Maggot and did make a bit of contact with Maggot's rear wheel. Still went past the Haas, but not sure if a little bit that was due to the contact. Maggot maybe had to have corrected that a little bit, because it was a decent hit on the wheel to wheel. As Reska is very wide and gets a 3-second penalty for his efforts.
Challenging the track limits just a little bit too much there for Reshka. But across the line we come as we head on to lap number 26 of this race. Meatball just can't quite get on the back of MDJ enough here to make a move. And the problem is MDJ is now losing time to learner driver Merckx. And you have to say that's purely down to the fact that he's just not in that DRS catchment area of 1 second. But is it just the case now that he's trying to look after his tyres? Behind Stinos down the inside, I got spooked. throws him down the inside, does give room on the exit. Spook does go wide. And Stinos up into 5th, and this is looking good for the Mercedes boys in terms of constructors' points.
Yeah, definitely looking to get a good haul at the moment. Yeah, looking like McLaren may be in the second best position currently points wise in the teams, but everyone else other than that a little bit spread out as far as team points go. So yeah, looking good for the Mercedes at the moment. Joshua Bashford with a 3-second penalty as well. So excuse me, sorry. Yeah, this track is definitely punishing the drivers for those track limits.
Yeah, and it does tend to be the same areas. It tends to be the corners over crests where you can run a bit wide, or you just don't quite get the braking right. But at this sort of level, as I think Meatball down the inside of MDJ into turn 1, he'll take 3rd place. And that is not what these drivers need to be doing, because instantly that's at least half a second lost to the 2 up front. I get this feeling that Meatball now is thinking, we're not going to catch the top 2, so let's just have it out and decide to put on-track positions.
Absolutely, and not only that, this has brought Stinos back into the fight, and Got Spooked is also not too far behind as well. So yeah, Stinos will be looking to take advantage of the 2 guys in front fighting each other. I can understand Meatball going for the moves, especially with his penalties. You know, he if he doesn't think he can get those shifted, he really needs to make a move really now to try and gap as many drivers as he can before the end of the race.
I mean, let's have a quick look. Where does 8 seconds put him at? 12.8. Puts him around Joshua Bashford area at the moment in 8th place. There's a lot of positions he could be losing out on, as Reshka's unfortunately had another... The Wi-Fi on board his Williams has decided it doesn't fancy working.
Yeah, it's a big shame for Reska that this car was jumping around a lot. It was on board with Louis because they were close to each other, and Reska's car, he was right next to Reska, and all of a sudden Reska was about a second up the road. So yeah, Reska having a few connection issues seemingly tonight, which is a big shame. But yeah, back at the front, learner driver still being patient with Malc. Do you fancy this could be a penultimate lap attack from the McLaren?
I think it'll be a last lap attack. I think as they go across the start-finish line to start that last lap, I think that's when he'll pounce, because then the only DRS zone he has to contend with is Reshka's onboard Wi-Fi has returned. The only DRS zone he has to contend with then is the one between turns 4 and 5, and as long as you have ERS to play with, then that particular zone isn't too bad to defend from.
No, definitely, it's all about that first corner, isn't it? Really. So yeah, if you can get ahead after that first corner, after the pit straight, you're in a very good position. You have to be big sends from the other guy to get past you after that point. So MDJ creeping up on me, but I don't think he's going to have enough time. He backs out of it a little bit actually there, does the Williams driver, and yeah, got spooked now with a 3-second penalty. So he'll now be looking behind him because Volcano is only 3.2 behind him. So not ideal there for the AlphaTauri driver.
No, and all that's going to do is give Volcano that sort of motivation to try and push that McLaren a little bit harder to close that gap down, as we got a nice fight between Ryan and Joshua Bashford as we go through turn 5 side by side up to 6. Remember, 7's not really a side by side corner. They're going to go side by side. Fantastic driving, good space given, but it looks like Ryan should get away with this one. No, they're still going to be side by side, just about through 9 up to 10 and 11. This is a cracking display of driving between these two. Joshua Bashford, you have to sense, you think on the inside he'd have it, and it looks like he will do unless Ryan can get a ridiculous drive off the corner, which he doesn't. But yeah, that's a fantastic display of driving between those two.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, and I feel like this battle's been going on for a while since the early laps of this race. As MDJ gets past Meatball, but then Meatball just nudges back. Stinos down the
Oh!
inside, and Meatball's still having a massive slide. Holds on to it eventually. That was yeah, hard to call that one. It looked like Meatball just tapped the back of MDJ. MDJ went down the inside. Meatball tapped the back of him, which slowed him up. Then Stinos went for a gap, which closed very quickly, and 3 into 1.5 just didn't really go.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of contact between MDJ and Meatball going in. It looked like the unsettled Meatball's Ferrari. And obviously, as we know in this game, if the car has a slight wiggle, it doesn't slow down, which then puts him in the back of MDJ. And I mean, I have to say that was very opportunistic from Stinos. But yeah, I think it's just a case of everyone trying to get back up to speed online as quickly as possible, and it just didn't work.
Absolutely, looks like a spin for Reska. Meatball is actually missing an end plate, so struggling a lot now with that Ferrari's handling. It's probably too late to come into the pits. It's just not worth changing it. But he's going to come in the pits anyway. Maybe going to go flat out into the pits and retire. Which is a bit strange because points were still on the cards there. But there we go. It's obviously his personal choice. So
meanwhile, Joshua Bashford back side by side with Ryan going into turn number 1, and he claims that position this time. Yeah, I'm surprised Meatball didn't chuck on a set of softs really and go for that fast lap, because obviously with only 12 drivers left, if you can get that fastest lap. I mean, who does actually have fastest lap right now? It is Merck with an 18.3.
So yeah, initially I thought that's what he was going to do when he came in the pits, was change that wing, get a set of softs on and go for it on the last lap. But obviously just feeling a bit aggrieved after that incident, and yeah, unfortunately that's his race run, which moves Reska up to 11th, which I'm sure he'll be delighted with, considering he's been in and out, as you said earlier, doing the hokey cokey with this lobby. But yeah, Learner Driver still 7 tenths, 6 tenths now behind Merck. He's got to be careful he doesn't drop too far behind and drop out that DRS. It's you know what Merck's like with his ERS usage. He's normally very good, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not. Is he going to go for it now? No, he's not.
For anyone who's eagle-eyed, when we go on board, you can actually see the ERS levels.
Ryan and Joshua again.
Yeah, and this is quite an interesting battle now, because it's soft versus hard, but now there's old softs against, even though it's old hards, they should be in much better nick.
Yeah, absolutely. As the tyres, obviously the race has spread out a bit since we've had this safety car, and quite a bit of difference in tyre strats now. But
back down the inside.
It's a great battle these guys are having, and as you say, like the display of side-by-side driving this minute goes absolutely brilliant, and it's really good to see. Yeah,
I mean, it just displayed. This is what IRL is all about. This sort of, okay, you might not be at the front, you might be in the mid-pack, but this is the type of battling you're going to get. You will have a race with someone.
6 tenths Learner Driver is behind Merck. Can he close? Merck goes to the right, defensive. Here comes Learner Driver. Ooh.
I'm surprised he didn't go for that then. In fact, I'm more surprised that Learner Driver didn't follow Merck to the right-hand side of the grid to pick up that slipstream early. Or does he? Because he's not close enough down this part of the track.
No, I think that was probably his chance. Like, I don't see how he's going to get another chance to get back past him now. I think that was it, unless he feels that he can get him coming out of the last corner, but it's very unlikely. And looking at this now, Merck is catching up to some ghosted cars. I think he'll probably get past him before the DRS detection anyway, a bit further on the lap. So, although the DRS is very small anyway, isn't it, to the finish line? It's pretty much
it's almost non-existent.
So, yeah. So I think Merck has probably got the win in the bag, as long as he can just negotiate these last couple of corners.
So here we go, through turn 14 for the 33rd time in this race, the final time. Down to the last corner. It's going to be a victory. And it's also going to be fastest lap, I think. It's going to be maximum points for Malc. His perfect season continues in Portugal. Learner driver picks up second after a good battle with last year's champion. Stinos comes home in third, got spooked fourth. MDJ fifth from the back of the grid. That's a great effort by him. Volcano in sixth. Ryan will get the better of Joshua Bashford in that battle, even though we knew Joshua had penalties as well. The on-track battle was fantastic to watch, probably the best of the race. Maga in 9th, Louis 10th, and Reshka. It's a fantastic sight to see. Is only going to be 2 points, but it's points nonetheless for the Williams driver. That's if he can manage to glitch his way across the line.
Carl was doing all sorts there, but yeah, great stuff for Reshka. I think he had to rejoin twice there, so yeah, fair play. He could have thrown the towel in, just given up for the night, but he kept going, and yeah, great stuff, and well-deserved points.
MDJ, the driver of the day from the game, and I don't think anyone can really complain about that one.
No, a little bit unlucky there with that incident towards the end of the race, but still recovered well up to fifth there.
Drivers on the podium, 2 Mercedes on the podium. That's good news for the constructors. Obviously, this is all provisional anyway. But Bruce, would you like to take us through the Portuguese Grand Prix provisional results?
Absolutely. So yeah, an excellent win there for Merck. 2 on the bounce now, I believe. With Learner driver an excellent second place as well. Stinos third in the Mercedes. We've got spooked fourth in the AlphaTauri. MDJ in the Williams, great drive up to fifth ever driver of the day with Volcano in sixth. Ryan seventh and Joshua Bashford eighth. Great driving from those two. A brilliant battle throughout the entire race, pretty much. Mag at ninth, good result for him with Louis in 10th, and Reshka was the last proper finisher in 11th, with Destiny and Ashtube suffering with connection issues, and Meatball, Owen, Martin Reshka, and Ginger Tiger retiring from the race.
So that is the final results. I say final, the provisional results. We'll see if we can get a couple of drivers in, because I know Learner driver and Stinos are on PlayStation. So I'll just wait to see if we can get a couple of drivers in. But I mean, obviously lots of people talk about drive of the day, but I mean the racing of the day has to go to Ryan and Joshua. I mean, you could have probably spent laps and laps watching those two swap places if there weren't any other battles going on.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely brilliant, and great respect shown between the two of them on the track. There was always that awareness of the guy being next to you. No one pushed anyone off the circuit. It was all quite amicable, really, and great to see. You do get moments when racing's like that, but people then start driving people off the road and whatnot. So it's fantastic to see that. They were both having a great race with each other. Albeit for a little bit lower down the order than I'm sure they both want to be, but still fantastic stuff. And it shows that no matter where you are in the pack, you can still find someone to have some excellent racing with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And seeing racing like that on a track that's difficult like Portugal is really good to see, especially when we've got the next race at Baku, where the margins for error are a lot smaller because you have the walls involved instead. So having racing like that where you can see people giving that room is really encouraging for the racing when we hit the street circuits this season.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we won't see side-by-side racing like that through the Old Town part of Baku, but it was it's great. It's great practice as well. That's the thing of having that awareness of the guys around you. But yeah, I think Baku might be a bit different. I think it's very easy to accidentally run someone wide, and so obviously no one does it on purpose. But just that little bit of understeer, and suddenly the guy next to you is in a bit of trouble. So yeah, we'll be interested to see how it goes next week. But yeah, as you said, brilliant stuff, and yeah, long may it continue. Hopefully, we keep racing standards high like that throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, we got a write up here from Merckx, who won the race. He says qualifying was good. It's good to see a few drivers battling near the top together. His race pace was good for him tonight, as it's always stronger than his qualifying for himself, which is, as we know, not a bad thing. He's managing his race before the safety car, but that spiced up at the end. He's glad to have held on with the soft tyres. Obviously, he congratulates everyone on the podium. And we'll just give it a couple more minutes for Stinos and Learner to maybe give us a write-up or not before we finish the stream. But obviously, a couple of things I've seen. As I actually said earlier, Bruce, obviously 12 race season, new point structure, albeit very mildly modified. I think this is going to be a very interesting season, and probably one that obviously is going to be closer because there's less points involved. But generally speaking, the way the racing is, I think this season is going to be one of the closest ones yet.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Merckx, made a great start now with the 2 wins. I think maybe on reflection, Learner Driving may be a little bit disappointed he didn't go for that move at turn 1 now. Obviously, because then now he'd be pretty much level with Merckx. But yeah, it's the main thing now for the other guys is they don't want to let the Mercedes driver get away too much now. I think they'll be looking to bounce back next week in Baku and try and sort of stop the chain of wins, because it can easily sort of not get out of hand. I think that's the wrong phrase, but it can easily escalate to a position where there's sort of a point of no return for the other guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, as we saw last season, street circuits provide excellent opportunity for chaos and other things. The driver's just popped in a quick write-up for us. So he said his quality pace is slowly improving, so he's happy to be near the front. His race pace was initially poor as he was running less downforce to others around him, and the connections were an issue, so he didn't want to be involved in an incident. Safety car came out a little early for everyone that started on the softs, so had to. I think that's everyone that started on the mediums. I think that's probably supposed to say. So he had to work with Merck to get the gaps so they were safe, and just didn't quite have enough at the end of the race. Still saying quality was okay for him, not the best lap, but he could have been worse. In the race, he spun on lap 8 or so. He was happy with the safety car, was able to make some moves through the field. An accident at the end made MDJ and Meat Burrow fall back, as we saw, and made him get the podium. So that is all of the we'll call it interviews with the top 3 drivers. But yeah, as I say, Baku next, birthplace of Whiffin's Wall. I'm sure Daryl, I don't know if he's still watching or not, but I'm sure he'll be absolutely very happy to go back to his headquarters. I was saying, obviously, last season we saw street circuits provide the chaos and provide very much unexpected results. I mean, if you look at Singapore last season, Emir retired from that race just by hitting a wall.
Yeah, absolutely, and he was a long way out in front as well, I believe, when it happened. But yeah, street circuit's obviously a different kettle of fish, really, to what we've witnessed in the last couple of weeks, and easy to make a mistake. Knock a wheel off, knock a front wing, and yeah, I suspect we will see safety cars during the race, which in itself can mix up the running order massively. I mean, as we saw tonight with MDJ. The safety car came at a great time for the Williams driver. So yeah, it does have that added sort of excitement to it, really.
But that is the end of Tier 1 for tonight. We do have one more race this week, and we do bring good news in terms of the RP side, because we are delighted to welcome back Malc for RP commentary. We are going to we might have someone else to go with him as well to keep him company, but we are all very excited to have Malc back on RP comms. I mean, brilliant commentator. Very, very well liked throughout the community. So join him tomorrow from 8 p.m. for the Realistic Performance League from Portugal, the last race of the week. Obviously, next week we all head to Azerbaijan and the Baku Street Circuit. You'll be joining Joe Hamster and JP on Monday, Jack TM53 Synopsis and Official Xerox on Tuesday, and myself and Bruce will be back on Wednesday for the next round of Tier 1. But from myself and Bruce here, thank you for watching tonight. Have a good one, and we hope to see you on the next Tier 1 race.